So if your scans are done, I've imported them into Illustrator or into Google Classroom rather, and on your end, you will be able to import it into Illustrator. You're going to literally build on top of this sketch digitally, and everything is all measured out for you. So by working off of the scan, it should make the process a lot faster and a lot easier for us. Okay. So I'm going to show you how to open it up here. So if you look in our Google Classroom page, the first post here says Band-Aid box scans, period 4. So everyone's scan is on there before I graded it. So the box is up there. No. Okay. So once you open up your scan, you'll notice that it's usually 2 pages, but like one document. You'll hit the 3 dots, open in a new window, and then it gives you the option to download. Super annoying, but that's Google Classroom's deal. Okay. So when you see it at the bottom here, we're going to just take that little box, drag it into Illustrator, don't let go, and then I just drop into this like open screen of Illustrator. So that's the only little thing that's kind of new to us here is this little box is going to pop up. And what it's asking us is if you want one page of your scan or if you want both pages. So if you want both, you would do like, you could just hit all. If you only want the first page because your logo's on there and you don't need all the other logos you drew, you could hit the first option. I'm going to use both and press OK. Okay, so now both are scanned into Illustrator, which works out really well for us. You'll probably notice you don't want to draw it on its side. That makes life really difficult. So we're going to do some rotating. There's a lot of ways to do this, but I find that this way is the easiest and causes the least amount of problems. So I zoom out a lot, and it's going to be this one I need to rotate. So what I do is I actually take the scans off of like my artboard like that. So that way I could work on rotating the artboard. So I'll click on my background, document setup, edit artboards. And you can click on either one of these and alter them. So I'm going to change it to landscape by clicking that little man in a box at the top. And I'm going to drag it over just a little bit. I know that seems like stupid that I moved those documents, but sometimes it selects all of them at the same time. So that's what we're preventing. So I've just clicked off of it and I'm out of that document editing mode. And then I can drag my scan back here, drag this one here. And how do I just rotate something? I'm going to hover in the corner, hold my shift key, and place it right back on top. Okay. So now everything's facing, oh, it's still upside down. So it goes that way. So now everything's facing the correct direction. And I want to make sure I don't want to move my scans around. So what should I click in my layer panel to prevent them moving? Yeah, that little empty space. So that way the padlock pops up. Good. One more step I want to show you. If you don't get to that part today, don't worry. But at least you could start a little bit. We're going to basically build the shape of our box, like the flat background portion. I do it in one color just to start. So we're going to fill in basically the outline of the box shape. My one recommendation that I would keep in mind while you're working on this is to keep each panel of your box the same color. So you don't want to make like your front panel blue and your side panels, yellow or something. I've seen it before where if it doesn't fold perfectly, those like line separations look awful. So try and start with one base color. And if you want something different to go along each side of your box, that works great. Maybe you have a border along the whole top of the piece that will go along here. That's fine. But whatever you do on one side, I'd try and make it similar on the others. Okay? So I'm going to go in and I'm going to start talking about making the background. So let's pick just a random color for today so you can see it. We'll go pink. I'm going to take off the stroke. No stroke. So to make the whole thing, you're going to use your rectangle tool pretty much for everything. Why isn't it letting me draw on this layer right now?
Because it's locked.
Good. So what do I need to do on top of it? Thank you. So I add a new layer on top, and you'll notice this. I'm going to start matching up with this like big strip of box here. It's going to be a hair off from the scan. And this one's actually pretty close. I don't want you to tilt it. I know that sounds dumb, and I know it probably bothers you, but then the box won't fold equally. So don't tilt it. Just try and get it as close as you can to the lines you see on the box. Okay? I'm going to add another one here. And the key is just lining it up as best you can with the edge of this tab. You could even, some people like to go in and just alt click and duplicate that. So at least you know your top and your bottom match. That's another handy tip there. I've figured that part you're pretty good at. How do we make the tabs? Also pretty simple, and I would recommend keeping these the same color too. So if you don't fold them perfectly, no one has to know. So when you go to make your tab, you're going to make it the same, like meet at the edge right here, guys. And then in order to make it taper in like that, we're going to use our free transform tool. So it's like a picture frame with a little arrow. And it's this one, the perspective distort. And you just drag it in. I don't really care about the angle so much. It's just so that I can see it's a tab. It's the length of the tab doesn't matter as much. You just need a little bit. Again, it's going to be, the tab's probably going to be a smidge off. What's more important is that it's nice and like equal. So it's the same thing for the other tabs. I'll just do one more and then we're pretty much done with the demo. So the key is that you're lining it up right with the edge. Make sure you, that one wasn't good. You're going to zoom in as best you can. I'm actually going to have it touch the other side. Free transform, this perspective distort, drag it in. And you're welcome to like copy and paste your tabs so that way they're all equal. That's a really good approach to it. And then one last tip, I promise you, and then we're done. I would hit Control R to turn on your rulers. Take your black arrow, and I would start setting guides like this so you could see where like one tab ends, the other one doesn't. So I click on the ruler, I drag it over, and I line those up as closely as I can to where the edge of the panel ends. That one's got to go back a little more. And so those are all the vertical ones, I think. Cool. And then I can pull from the top ruler. And those are my horizontal panels. And those will all be on that background layer. So once you finish doing all of your tabs, I would just name that background. You could add any kind of border along the top and the bottom as you see fit. And then after you're done with that, you would make another layer and build on top of that drawing wise. And of course, since we can't see all that stuff, we could just go and hide it as we need. Okay. I know it's a lot of steps, which is why I recorded it. Do you have any questions so far? He is.